And then I took pictures of the armies. So yes, this could take a very long time, but I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on each one individually. So we've got some very stylish mushroom goblins. Very nice. And obviously, if people want to have a closer look at these armies, they can either pause the video or they can go and scour Kings of War Fanatics on Facebook to see if there's pictures of individual armies posted on there, or ask people. Find out whose armies they are and request more pictures. Very stylish there, though. Then we've got some halflings. You'll notice here there's vouchers sitting next to all the armies. Those were, if you bring a Mantic army, you get £10 off in the little Mantic shop that they had set up at the venue for the day. Lovely halflings, very green bases, nice grass there. Empire of Dust, very cool. Lots of skeletons. More halflings. Some of the armies only have like a close-up shot of a couple of models because they weren't necessarily put out for display, they were just like left on their box lid or something. This is a ridiculously tasty army. And there's a lot of converting and kind of scratch building and top-level painting going on here. This is the one army that definitely caught my eye the most. Look at this, some classic dragons as well. Very classical looking. It's a shame this picture's blurry because that's a very nice model as well. People will have seen this army, probably, if you're a Kings of War fanatic. Very cool. Then we've got a sideways shot, or a vertical shot, if you will, to capture the majesty of this display board, which I'm going to assume it has to be an actual goddamn tree, doesn't it? How can that not be a real tree? Look at it. If that's not a real tree, I'm not going to eat my hat, because, I mean, it could be a fake tree, but it just looks very real. And the army on it's not bad either, look at that. Very snazzy. Then we've got some delightful watery trident realms with their big tentacly faces. We've got some salamanders. I thought this flame effect is pretty cool there. Giving Jurassic Park 3 vibes there. Film where they decided that the dinosaurs were allowed to have a few feathers. We've got, I assume these are some Basileans there. Very nice and bright and vibrant. We've got some orcs. Are these orcs or rift-forged orcs? I think they're rift-forged, actually, yeah, with flying cavalry. Definitely. We have got... I'm not going to pretend to know what every army is. This looks a bit herd-like, though, or forces of nature, maybe. We've got some abyssals. We've got some Northern Alliance. These bases are very interesting. Nice to see you. Then we have got that. Is that Abyssal Dwarves? You know what? I'm not even sure. It could be Abyssal Dwarves. It could be Twiglet kin. I'm not 100% sure just from looking at that. Someone will know. We've got some elves. We have got... Now, smoke machines. How do we feel about smoke machines on display boards? What do we think? I think I've got a video of this coming up. You won't be able to hear any of the background noise because I think I've got that muted, but you might hear it, potentially. So, I have no idea if it's going to be loud. Let's find out. There we go, I'll mute it anyway. But look at that. Smoke effects. I should probably do more actual video footage put into these videos, I think. I think that would be cool. Then we've got some more delightful forces of nature with a lot of elementals. We've got some more salamanders. I like the salamander piratey guys. What are they? Are they corsairs? Is that what they're called? I always think they look funny. We've got some nice muddy ogres. Very muddy. That's very nice basing there. Looks very authentically muddy. More halflings. Halflings quite popular at the moment. We have got some... I don't know what these are. I have absolutely no idea what this army is. Oh, actually, can we see there? Is that the army list? Let's have a look. Is this undead? I think it is, you know, because they seem to have skeleton faces. So I think this is a very cool undead army. That looks like orcs to me. Trident Realms. Elves. We've got... That's probably... Is that Forces of Nature? Ogres. Look at that. Riding on a frog. I'm going to guess that is... That's got to be Cuslow, hasn't it? Surely. That's still an option in the ogre list, I assume. Then we have got some Basileans, I guess that is. Yeah, it looks like it. And back to the display boards. And these are actually goblins? Are they actually goblins? They're goblin models. But what are these representing? Are those going to be giants? Yeah, it must be goblins. And those will be mincers, I assume. Very cool, though. And then we've got a ship with some twiglets on it. Look at that. Very kindly, the player has actually written the name of the faction, but I think I would have been able to work this one out anyway. But this is the new Warpath flyer, I think. It is for Warpath, isn't it, that flyer? And we've got this. Is this the Gordrake? Is that what it's called? It might be the first time I've seen one used at an event. But lots of delightful twiglets there, and I assume the units just are removed from the ship on the table. Very cool. Some nice icy Northern Alliance. We have got some more halflings. And Night Stalkers. Yeah, look at all the pumpkins on this one. It's like a pumpkin patch. And the creatures are growing out of the ground. And they pop up with no head. But they, as they're burrowing up through the soil, they put their head into a pumpkin. And that now becomes their head. I think that's what's going on there. Abyssal Dwarves. We like to see that as well. Like to see a bit of Abyssal Dwarf action. And I'm going to guess that's a horde of decimators there, which is a really cool idea for the unit basing, with the little war machine behind the fence there. Maybe 2 hordes. That's cool. Very nice. Some more ogres. Very colourful ogres here. Is that the most colourful ogre army I've ever seen? When I finish going through all the armies, if I get round to it afterwards, I'll put in a little chapter note or something so people can skip through this if they don't want to see it. Because this is going to take a while, still. Salamanders. Dwarves. Dwarves are pretty hot right now with all their strong infantry. More Night Stalkers. With a Void Lurker, which I couldn't fit into my list, sadly, because there was no way I could physically get that many Titans in with the point limit. We have got some free dwarves. Again, very nice that it's actually there so I can read it. Some very cool old school slayers here. Very nice. We have got some abyssals. Some herd by the looks of it there. These look like orcs to me. And this is quite a challenge actually, figuring out what every army is supposed to be. This one looks like, is this a cheeky bit of Varangur here? That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I think I've definitely seen this army before, with the nice LEDs going on in there, which the pictures just about capture. By the way, whoever's watching this live, feel free to drop some comments in there. I see you lurking. Trident Realms. That is a lot of orcs and trolls. Oh, I've just spotted there. Look at that. Looks like, is that the actual... I think this one is the Warhammer Quest Snotling, isn't it? In this Orkling unit. And that's the slightly later Snotling that came with one of the plastic boxes. I think that is the Warhammer Quest one there. I'm sure I've got some of those around the place somewhere. We've got some Ratkin. We've got some more halflings. Now this looks like a very fast, but also delightfully colourful halfling army. Very speedy, lots of balloons, lots of jetpacks. We have got some more dwarves. We have got some presumably abyssal dwarves here. Yeah, that looks like some decimators and some slave orcs, no doubt. Very cool. We've got some abyssals. I really like this model here. Then we have got some Night Stalkers. More representation for them. Nice Shadow Hulk. This is the proper Shadow Hulk, not my hideously created abominations. This is the standard Shadow Hulk. Now, Trident Realms. This is very nice. I really like the sharks. I really like the frog. Look at those. Especially this guy. Very cool, very horrifying. And look at that. This frog did give me some flashbacks though. For anyone that's played V Rising, the PC game where you're a vampire, there's a really horrible boss battle against a giant frog. So anytime I see a giant frog now, that's what it reminds me of. Just the trauma of trying to win that fight against a frog that jumps on you all the time. Colin is definitely late for the stream, but I think if you're visiting someone in hospital, I think you're allowed to miss the first game of a live stream. I'm going to allow that. And even though this has been going, how long have we been going now? It's not even far off an hour, this video. And we've only done one game because we're going through all these armies, and I did have quite a long speech at the start about my army selection, so it's going to go by a lot quicker from this point. We've got some nice Rift-forged orcs. We have got some salamanders. Again, nice frog action going on here. Halflings. Ogres. The standard of armies is very high, and it's also more colourful than usual. But there are some armies that were ridiculously well painted from previous years that I didn't see at this one. So I think some of the usual suspects for having like the top tier armies weren't there this year. But they've been replaced with some others that are also very nice. Lovely Kraken. More Rift-forged orcs. They seem to be quite popular. We've had a few of those. Empire of Dust. I especially like these big models here. They're very nice. More Empire of Dust. I like the robes. Very nice colour fades going on there. Very cool indeed. More ogres. More abyssals. And these heads are very nice. This is quite unique. Look at this. Water effects with horses. Very cool. Is this an entire turtle army? I'm going to guess it's going to be salamanders then. Yeah, I can see it up there. It says salamanders. But look at that. I don't know if these are conversions, or whether they're an actual miniatures line, or whether they're 3D prints or what. But very cool. More halflings. And another video. Because this is a Ratkin army that is very three-dimensional in its display board. You have to wrap all the way around to see everything. Look at this. I've always liked the idea of making a dead zone table that's kind of like this, that like spirals round, but not very practical to play on necessarily. We've got some more salamanders. Seen quite a few of these actually. Yet more halflings. Some more elves. Okay, this is the goblin army that I played against in the first game, set up in its full rock concert mode, so you can see all the crowd there not being allowed to rush the stage because there's trolls in the way. And the characters are on top of the stage with their little instruments, and the giants as well, and the speaker system. I think that's one of the coolest setups of an army, one of the coolest diorama armies that you wouldn't necessarily know from looking at it when it's playing a game, and then when you actually set it up like this, very cool concept and very well executed. Look at that. Colin says, have you heard 4th edition rumours? Yes, I've heard a lot of the stuff that might be coming in 4th edition. The world seems to be not losing its mind as much as they usually do when changes are announced. But from what I understand, it sounds like they're kind of streamlining the game a bit in some ways, and taking rid of getting rid of some unnecessary rules, is what I heard. Those were the whispers going around. Some rules that maybe don't add as much to the game as they add in complexity. I don't mean like dumbing down of the rules. I mean certain parts of the rules that are bloated, streamlining those, and then you've freed up some space in the rules to add other things then, I think is what they're doing. Hopefully that makes sense to people. But I didn't hear the late night Ronnie address to discuss it all in great detail. So there may be people who are there that have more information. But those are the whispers I've heard going around. It's not hugely sweeping changes, but also some significant ones. Dwarves. Now, this is nice. I can see they've got the little containers at the back of the base there where you can put the wounds that the units have built up. That's a good idea, building it into the actual base so it's not taking up space on the table. Very nice. We've got some elves. Some abyssal dwarves. I thought these looked very cool, even though they weren't really out on display as such. They're just kind of sitting on the tray a bit cramped. But look at the highlights. Look at the bold colours. Look at this guy. Maybe some of the best highlighting I've seen on some abyssal dwarves, especially on this and on the golems. Colin says characters are moving to larger bases, squares, like champions. Well, anything moving onto larger bases is not really much of a problem in wargaming in general, because you can just plop your smaller base into a bigger base. It's where bases shrink, that's where it's a problem. So larger base, not too much of a problem for me. If it was the bigger units, it may ruin some people's diorama bases, but I think it is just characters that are changing, so I think it's fine. Look at that. So I've got lots of pictures of this army because I just really like this highlighting that's going on. Now, I didn't get pictures of every army because some of them weren't really out for photography. Some of them were in their boxes. Very nice water effects on this, forces of nature. Some nice rats. And finally, that's all the armies I've got pictures of. So